dry soil, in some places in the hill country, that's the only option you have.
Right.
Do y'all know Dr. Ziblot?
Yeah.
He's kind of the alternative doctor for Austin. I was talking to him, he used to teach permaculture classes and stuff, and I said, hey, it's calling for some health thing. I said, hey, by the way, how's your orchard? He's got a fabulous orchard going. And we were talking a little bit about fertility and the lessons we learned in fertility. He said, yeah, I just bought a 40-yard truck of compost. 40 yards, oh my God, that's a semi-truck. Compost. He said, well, we don't have any soil out here. Okay. Yes, again.
Have you had any experience with solar-powered dehumidifying source of water?
Oh, you mean from like making a still to?
Well, like the dehumidifier that you have in your house, and then but it be solar-powered for a water source.
Yeah. No, I haven't looked at that.
That
Sounds
seems like that would be a real good thing to have.
That would be pretty small.
You don't need it real big.
Yeah, well, for the amount of water that you need for your drinking water and hygiene, yeah, that'd be fine. For, again, if you remember back to when we talked about sources of water, you really need a lot of water, and the main need is going to be for irrigation for the plants. Oh yeah, here, I'm sorry, this is the one I'm eating now. This is what's in my garden, this is what my diet looks like. By the way, this is one question I usually get asked, and I didn't. About half to 3/4 of all of my diet comes off of the land. I trade or buy some other things, and then I import butter from a place in Missouri, and avocados from Mexico, chocolate, of course. And if you'll notice, the main thing that imports are fats. Remember I was telling you fats are the hardest thing to grow on farm? It's good. Yes, go ahead.
As far as where you get your seedlings, no, with GMO foods and GMO seeds, do you have a reputable seed, small plant person?
Well, there's getting to be a lot. The bio-intensive people have one called Grow Organic.
Yeah.
I also buy stuff from Peaceful Valley out of California. There's some seed savers groups. There's the Southern Seed Savers Exchange. You got to be careful because, like Mars Candy just bought up one of the really good heirloom seed companies, and there's more and more of these big, yeah, seed exchange. They bought that. Yeah, isn't that amazing? And then I'm hearing more stories all the time about some mom and pop operation, and Monsanto throws so much money at them. They can't.
Well, they can be cross-pollinated because it's theirs.
Yeah, there's that too. We all know that Monsanto's evil.
Very evil.
Very.
But they're the company of the year.
They're feeding. We're not really feeding well, but we're feeding about 6 billion people on this planet. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm having an intimate dinner with my husband, we have the finest food available, right? When I'm throwing a block party, I've got cheap carbohydrates. You know what I mean? And that's, when you got 7 billion people, you've got to figure out
It's a protein war.
how you've got cheap, you gotta grow food, and we have sacrificed so much nutrition to the point that stuff is not edible, in my opinion, anymore. There's very little for me.
They've got Roundup Ready corn.
Yeah.
It's all honeybees, just right off to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. It really is. I mean, most of you around here, about, the ruling elite, about the whole house of cards with the economic situation. You probably know about 9/11, and oh my God, that is totally, is it the red pill or the blue pill? I mean, there is a real big difference between people who know about 9/11, regardless of which conspiracy theory you think it is. The fact that it isn't the official story is a big leap, right? Well, the food situation is just as screwed up. The medical situation, we all know that they're not really caring about our health in that. That's not what that system's all about at all. Well, the agricultural system is just as corrupt. The commercial food supply is totally contaminating and toxic.
Yes.
And, so it's, other than the fact that the whole thing is going to collapse at some time, it's not a matter of when, not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. But even if that weren't the case, it's just your basic health is a fundamental reason for wanting to grow food. So, another question?
Are you familiar with the French knot gardening system?
Yeah, I think that's where part of the biointensive came from, was biodynamic.
Where you plant like carrots below the ground, and then corn that grows above the ground, and then beans that grow up the top.
Yeah.
So that you can have a much more concentrated area of food.
Trying to maximize the production, yeah.
Right.
So it's like the Three Sisters garden with the Native Americans, where you have the corn and the beans and the squash quantitatively. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of really good techniques out there. I keep trying different things and then coming back to the biointensive over and over again, just because it's so well researched and so well documented, and often has incorporated a lot of those kind of concepts in it, so, in the back. Yeah.
Does your poultry provide most of your pest control, or do you import beneficial insects or anything like that?
No, I don't import beneficial insects. The poultry, we let them in the garden every now and then. Yeah, they'll eat bugs. But usually, if I'm having a bug problem, it's because the season's not right. Like right now, the brassicas are just starting to get really attacked by bugs. You'll never be able to keep up with it. It's best not to just throw them. They're not supposed to be growing now. It's too hot, or it's getting too hot. But if I have a severe bug problem, I usually let the chickens go in there, handle the bugs. And then I realized that fundamentally those plants are stressed in some way or another. That's the reason the bugs came to attack them. The bugs are the nature's predator to handle the weak in the plant world. That's part of the function that they serve. And if you go back and, that's the time to hit them with some manure tea or some compost tea or a bit of seaweed or something, whatever you got, give them some nutrition, make sure they got the right amount of water levels, get them back to healthy again, and the bugs will not attack them. The other thing, I've let a lot of things go to flower, and I have a lot of flowering stuff as much as possible, and that attracts all kinds of, I think Malcolm Beck says 97% of the insects are beneficial. And if you have a whole bunch of insects there, they'll take care of the bad ones for you. So, insects are pretty vicious. You watch the insect world, man. They eat each other. So, yeah.
I have a question. I have those little teeny tiny flying insects that go in the ground in my potted plants, and they'll eat the plant.
Huh.
And I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I don't know what that one is.
Why I have them.
Yeah. I don't do a lot with potted plants. I haven't seen those.
Well, the only thing I've been able to do is take a little bit of liquid joy, dishwashing,
Does that help?
and water it and spray it.
Uh-huh.
And that, of course, kills them, it dries them up. But not in the ground where they're crawling
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, as I said, with most insect problems, I usually realize the insects are coming because the plant is weak. And, you'll notice that at a party, there'll be some person that the mosquitoes are always attracted to. You talk to them, they got a whole list of health issues. So anyway, I'll be around to answer questions, and I want to thank you so much for coming out. More information, a lot of what we went over here is more depth, and as I said, there's a companion. I found it very useful to have a lot of written documents as well as the visual video, so there's a lot of written documents here that support the Texas Manual on Rainwater Collection, a little bit about tanning rabbit pelts and different things on making compost piles, and a whole thing of Bill Mollison's permaculture design notes.